Hi, my name is Martin and I am the solo dev behind the Last Citadel. This is the first time I've been on front of the camera since the game has released, and there will be a lot to talk about. But this will not be the focus of today. Instead of being a proper devlog, this will be more of an update log. So this video will showcase everything that is going to be coming to the Last Citadel in the next patch 1.0.2. If you're interested in the behind the scene, how the game was, released on Steam, how the feedback came, all the patches that went in the first, couple of days, I will eventually make a proper devlog just talking about, the personal experience of releasing a game on Steam. But for now, let's just concentrate on the actual update that is coming. So instead of doing like I did for the last devlog, I will be spending most of this video in front of the computer, showcasing everything that is to come in the Last Citadel. This coming patch is going to be titled Endgame, and it is going to add a bunch of stuff for every single run that you're going to complete. So anyways, let's get to the computer. And welcome to the Last Citadel. New setup that I'm trying today, kind of more of a streamer vibe. I'm currently, you can see that it's kind of clipping all over the place, so we'll be still testing stuff out. I don't have a green screen behind me, so I need to use some plugins. Not really used to that, but anyways. And I also have my cat on my lap, so anyways, it's a whole thing. Welcome to this new patch. I'm not going to be recapping everything within since release, because as I said, I did a lot. I'll just be presenting what is going to be coming in the endgame content patch. The main thing for the endgame patch is all of this beautiful stuff right here. So before I go into every single thing here, how it's going to be presented is in your, I'll go in the lobby just to show you guys a bit more in the actual setting. So when you are selecting your mission difficulty, so where you would input, for example, your seed, or select just, if you're playing Explorer, Adventurer, or Raider, you're also going to have a little icon that shows you that you have stuff that you can unlock on that difficulty. And it's going to be indicated using a padlock of a certain color. So for Explorer, it's green, Adventurer, blue, and Raider, it's orange. And every single time you're going to end a run, it's going to unlock one of those. Of course, if you have unlocked everything, you're not going to unlock more stuff. So right now in Raider, if I go at Explorer, you'll see here I have 3 out of 3. So those, when the patch will go live, of course, no one will have them unlocked. You should see a 0 out of 3. And then if you go at Adventurer, 0 out of 6, and Raider, 0 out of 9. And you don't have 9 separate things at Raider, as opposed to 6 other things at Adventurer or 3 other things at Explorer. They're cumulative. So when you're playing Explorer, you have 3 things that you can possibly unlock. But if you don't want to play Explorer because you're already accustomed to the game, or you're just good at shooters and you want to go directly for at least Adventurer, then you're still going to be able to unlock those Explorer stuff. So you're going to first unlock the 3 options that are for Adventurer, and once those 3 are done, you're going to start unlocking the lower tier ones, so the ones for Explorer. So if, like me, you would play only Raider, then you can just play Raider and unlock everything, and you're going to unlock it from the top down. So the best stuff first, and then going down. And what are those unlockables? I'll go back to my debugging world. They are different events or stuff that you'll encounter during the runs. So if I jump in, I'll show you guys in the order that you're going to unlock them. So the 3 for Explorers are based on crystals. So you're going to be able to use your crystals during the run to... sorry. Explorer is actually free stuff. Sorry. So Explorer is completely free, stuff that's going to be added into your runs, and you'll be able to use them for free, and it's going to help you to get to those higher difficulties. So the first one is with the guns and go here. You're going to see that from now on, once you've unlocked that, every single time you get to get the guns and go, there's going to be one singular item that's going to be on sale every single time. So for example, right now, it's the Purificator here. So you can see Purificator, it's on sale. So even though this weapon is a blue tier, it's 71%, it's still cheaper than the Mark Rifle, which is a green tier at 67. So these sales are going to be random. It could be the first one, the bottom one, the middle one. It doesn't matter if it's, the most powerful weapon or not. The second thing you're going to encounter is this thing here. This is a gun reroll machine. The only place you're going to encounter this machine is at the very start of your run. So Right now, how the system works is you choose a primary weapon, and you also have a junk rifle that always comes with any kit that you're playing with. And those weapons have a role. So when you start your first game, when you start, well, actually any game, your weapon will just roll its stats. So for example, right now, it rolled a howitzer with 55%. So I have a 66 damage, 32 rate of fire, etc. If I relaunch this again, I might get a 57, a 52. It will be between 50 and 59. The goal of the gun reroll machine is just to be able to reset that roll. So if you got a very bad howitzer, that one's actually pretty good. But if I got a very bad gun, I would be able to reroll it. So for example, if I were to reroll the howitzer here, so I have a 55 with 66 damage, I'll reroll this. I only have one reroll, and then the machine is, broken. You can't use it again. But now my howitzer is a 56 with 65.1. So I actually got pretty close to what I already had, but it will reroll from scratch. So if you have a bad weapon, it actually, gives you a chance to get a better one from the get-go. That is also free, and again, you'll only have one use on that machine. And the final one that is free is this thing here, which is a service station. That will be part of the map generation. You have a 60% chance of generating that somewhere in the level. So would it be in World 1 Act 1 or World 3 Act 1 or Act 2, whatever, you might encounter this inside of the map generation. And this is just simply a machine that will heal you. It will heal you over time. So if I take damage here, I'll get in that zone, and it's going to heal me passively 100 per second of health, and I'll also have some ammo. So it's really just a thing to help players that are maybe struggling with both ammo and or health to, give them a boost. If you're a very skilled player, those encounters are not going to be super useful, but they're really there for the starting players. So those three are going to be what we're going to encounter with the Explorer unlockables. After that, we go into the Adventurer unlockables, which are all going to be paid using crystals. Those will spawn at every single level. You're going to get one. So in every single floor, you should always get at least the option to buy up to 2 passives, plus the passive at the very end that is free. You're also going to unlock this Focus Altar, and I think it's already pretty visually intuitive, but if not, I'll explain it. It's a passive that will always be of a certain type. So normally, if I take a passive, let me go over here, I'll have a passive on the ground. Every single time I'm going to take a passive, I should, no, these ones might be forcing something. Yeah, they're forcing something. But normally, they look like this. So you're always going to get one offensive, a defensive, and a supportive passive. And these Focus Altars, instead, will give you a very specific thing. So for example, if I take a passive here, I'm going to get 3 supportive passive. So more choice if I'm trying to build a supportive role. And if I'm trying to build a tank, I might go for this one. All 3 are going to be defensive passive. Now, the only thing is, maybe you don't want to build a defensive build, but you also have a lot of money. So maybe it is still worth to buy a passive, even though it doesn't correspond to your type. So what I did is, the first roll will be of the same types. For example, this one was offensive, 3 offensive passives. But if I reroll, then I'm going to switch back to the normal way, which is offensive, defensive, and supportive. So it's still just an additional passive, but the first roll will also will have 3 of the same types. They are a bit more expensive. So normally in a passive, for example, in World 1 Act 2, passives are 50 crystals. These would be 75. They're always 25 more than the normal passives. But it is another option, and if you're trying to build something specific, will also help you do that. So that is option number 1. Option number 2 is the Gamble and Go. So this little thing machine that you can activate is going to roll and will give you a reward. Well, I got a passive on that one. But you can get a bunch of different stuff with this. So you can get some prisons, you can get some crystals, you can get some passives, you can get some drones, and you can also get some weapons. 2 passives in a row. Wow, that's actually the passives are a very low percentile chance of getting that reward. The most common is just nothing. But if I roll it again, I might get a weapon. A weapon is fairly high, and the thing with weapons is, there we go. The thing with weapon is you're also going to get some different rarities. So if you are in World 1 Act 2, the normal progression is that at that level you're supposed to get a green weapon, right? The Gamble and Go will have 3 options, always. One is that current level. So if you're in World 1 Act 2, it will give you a green weapon, and that's the highest percentage of chance. The second one is +1. So you are in World 1 Act 2, it would drop you a blue weapon. And the last one is +2, which would drop you a purple weapon. But that percentile is super, super low. So you might get a super broken weapon in the Gamble and Go, and you might also get, maybe I'll get it this time, just plain nothing. There we go. So nothing here. So that is option number 2. And the last one is this workbench. This workbench is going to be present at every single Guns and Go, and will allow you to just rebuild a drone directly. So you already have those wreckage of drones inside of the maps, and you can buy them for $50, 50 crystals. And this option is just if you're playing a mechanical specialist type of build, you are able to basically build some drones without relying on luck, because you might get 1 drone, you might get 2 drones, or you might get no drones in a single map. So this option is a bit more pricey, so 75 instead of 50, but you can select the type of drone that you want. So for example, I could click here, offensive drone, and I'm going to have a little boy with me. And that is not limited to the number. So if I have a bunch of money, I could build, 4 drones, and I have a bunch of little tiny guys that are following me around. Of course, this is going to be very pricey for trying to build, a bunch of drones. But especially if you're looping, it's a great, money sink that you can just buy a bunch of drones, and it is very powerful. And our last category is for Raider stuff. When you are unlocking stuff at Raider, you are unlocking events that are going to be costing prisms. So of course, if you're playing at Raider, it's not going to take you, more than about 20 to 25 hours to unlock pretty much everything in the game. So after those 24 hours, what do you do with your prisms? Well, you can spend them here. You're going to have 3 different types of events. They're all at 25% spawn rate, so 25% chance of being in a single map, not in a run, in a map. And those will give you different types of buffs. I'll actually just change my skin here so that we can see one of them a bit more. Yeah, that one's fine. So if I go in the first one here, it is a tribute to the gods, and that will cost you 50, and you will get a new kind of like skin of like thundering effect through your suit, and that will give you a Chosen Warrior passive, and that Chosen Warrior passive is very vague. It just pushes your suit to the limit. What does that mean? Well, it actually depends on the suit that you're using. For all of the different suits, it will grant you a bit of health and movement, but it will also push that specific suit passive further. So for example, with the Infiltrator suit I had here, Infiltrator has less aggro, a bit slower stamina regenerate, and more weak spot damage. What the Chosen Warrior did for me in that case, aside from the health and the speed, is it gave me some better weak spot damage. So instead of having 125, I now have a bit more than that. 77.3, it's going to be hard to calculate, but basically I'm dealing more damage. So that will only be usable once. So if you're in a party of 4, you kind of have to choose with who that ability will be most useful. So if you have a very good damage dealer that could push that to the even further, maybe that would be the person to take this. Since it's a 25% chance to spawn, normally you might encounter more than one in a single run. So you might get 2 or 3 people in your party to enable this. The next one here is a bit of a similar deal than this one, but instead of being on the suit, it is on a specific weapon. So if I take, for example, my Ode to Joy here, and I go to the baptism pool, my gun will now be imbued with the same electricity as my suit. And what that does is it's going to push my gun here. If I open this up, you're going to see a bit more clearly. It is now a 55 plus. So what does the plus do? The plus does not affect your actual number on your weapon, your actual percentile. It's going to just push all of the stats up. So it's the equivalent of leveling up a weapon, but without changing the actual rarity or weapon percent of the gun. So that technically enables you to push a weapon beyond maximum. So instead of being limited to 100, you're basically limited to 110. It's not really 110 because it's calculated in a different way, but it is basically a 10% upgrade throughout the entire thing. The last one is this thing here. I'll just reset my gun. Let's go back to this guy. The last one here also costs prisons. It is a weapon optimizer. It's going to optimize a weapon that you're currently holding, similar to the baptism pool just right next to it. And you're going to select a archetype. So for example, I have 3 archetypes here. I have damage, crit, and arcana. Arcana is trigger chance and trigger multiplier. So if I have something like impact or radiation, it would push that radiation multiplier higher and again the trigger chance. So you can see here the different stats are being affected. It is not changing your weapon level or weapon percentile. So if my weapon currently it's a 57, it is still going to remain a 57, but it's going to have a perfect roll for that 57, meaning it's going to get the maximum amount of damage it could have possibly rolled in the case of the damage archetype for 57. So if I take this one, you're going to see I have a upgrade of about almost 20 damage and my rate of fire is increased, but I am dropping both my crit chance and multiplier as well as my twitch chance and multiplier potential. So if I select, for example, here the damage, spending this, and then my weapon is now optimized for damage. So I have 70 damage with 49 rate of fire. It is maximized for basic damage. And those 3 are our Raider unlockables. So every single thing here is going to be unlocked when you are going to complete a run. So when you beat the final boss, when you beat the unknown, you're going to unlock one of those depending on the difficulty. And again, if you're playing at Raider, you can unlock the entire thing. You're just going to unlock the Raider stuff first, and then the Adventurer, and then the Explorer. So hopefully this patch will help players who are struggling a bit with some of the, the difficulty of the game, because it's a pretty hard game, and will help you guys go towards, playing Adventurer and eventually even Raider. In a later patch, we will be adding some stuff to make the game harder, but it will be optional stuff, so if you're struggling, you can just, not click on those. But anyways, that's it for Endgame patch. And that is all for the first of, hopefully many, update vlog of the Last Citadel. This patch is going to be released on the 22nd of May, so next Friday, and will also be released alongside a 25% sale on the game for a whole week. Thank you for listening and for all the feedback, and I'll see you soon.